You're starting the day before school. It's like 7 in the morning. And so you're to make sure that your child is overstimulated with an iPad, just setting your kid up for failure, and the teachers. What do you expect teachers to do? Here's something in the latest trend, parenting trend. The Guardian has this article, The Rise of FAFO Parenting, FAFO Parenting. Is this the end of gentle child rearing? It says, a couple of weeks ago, a video posted on TikTok by Paige Carter, a mother in Florida, went viral. Carter explained that she had thrown her daughter's iPad out of the window when she had been misbehaving on the way to school. She films herself retrieving the tablet, now with a cracked screen. The video has been watched 4.9 million times, and Carter was congratulated in the comments, with one person writing, "Learning FAFO at an early age, top-tier parenting. Welcome to the parenting trend that doesn't seem to be disappearing. Look around and find out." In another video, when a small child announces he is going to leave home, his mother says, "See ya," shunts the front door behind him, and turns off the outside lights, then opens the door to him screaming and pounding to be let back in. It's been liked 1.5 million times. He had learned, said his mother, the meaning of FAFO. Last summer, a piece in the Wall Street Journal heralded the rise of FAFO parenting. Is it FAFO? Is that how you're supposed to pronounce that? FAFO? And the end of gentle parenting, a trend that began about 10 years ago as a response to the more authoritarian naughty step parenting of the early 2000s. Okay, so it's the rise of F around and find out parenting. This is a trend to supplant the gentle parenting trend. That's what we're being told, and I find it all very stupid. Everything is stupid. Everything is stupid, and I hate it. I hate everything, and everything is stupid. Don't get me wrong. Now, I agree with the principle here. Gentle parenting is ridiculous. I've laid out the argument against it many times. I am not a gentle parenting advocate. And I agree with many of the methods that are now being categorized under the F around and find out parenting trend. But what I hate is this, that FAFO is not some crazy new trend. Okay, it's not a bright new idea that the parents of TikTok have figured out. It's just called consequences. That's it. It's the most basic parenting concept of all time. Okay, saying that this is a parenting trend, it's like saying that, hey guys, here's this new trend I'm trying. I've taught my child how to tie his shoe. You guys want to see? Let me do a TikTok video. Check this out, guys. I'm teaching my child how to tie his shoe. I'm trying this new tying shoe trend. I'm a shoe tying parent. I teach my kids how to tie their shoes. No one's ever thought of this before. This is new. No, it's not a trend. It's not a new method. It's not some exciting new strategy. You didn't need to have a TikTok video congratulating yourself. Okay, look, moms, we don't need it. You don't need to do a TikTok video. Hey, look at me, just doing a really basic parenting thing. Check it out. Everyone congratulate me. Hurry. Yes, the proper way to raise a child, the only way to raise a child is to put consequences in place. That's true. It's not a trend. Okay, and I just like the Zoomers and millennials on TikTok are constantly claiming to have invented things that people have been doing for thousands of years. You didn't discover anything. There's nothing new happening here at all. And by the way, the woman who threw the iPad out the window has done, and I'm sure, she's probably a nice woman. I got no problem with her. But so she threw the iPad out the window. And she's done multiple videos. I went to check out her page to see what's going on. She has it's like a 20-part series of TikTok videos about this epic saga of the iPad being thrown out the window. And now she's doing a media tour to talk about. She's doing media interviews about the fact that she threw an iPad out the window. So here she is on Fox. Watch.
A Florida mom going viral on TikTok for throwing her daughter's iPad out the car window after the 6-year-old had a meltdown on the way to school. Check it out.
I dropped them both off at school, and now I'm here to see if it's still here. And it is. Look. Boom.
Oh my goodness, I love it. That mom, Paige Carter, joins us now. Paige, it's so great to have you on. When we introduced teased the subject earlier in the show, Lucas threw in the word alleged, that your child was allegedly misbehaving in the back. I believe you. And so
what was she doing?
Yeah, tell me what was happening.
Yeah, definitely. So for a couple weeks before this, she had just kind of been disobedient, and she actually is turning 7 tomorrow. And so I think she's just learning where she can test our boundaries. Sure. And so we had taken her iPad away, and that morning she'd been so good. We have a 10-minute drive to school. So I said, you know what? I'm going to let her have it. I'm going to reward her good behavior.
Oh boy.
And the second we got in the car, it was just game over.
I love the chyron there. Threw child's iPad out the window is what it's. Breaking news. Woman throws iPad out window. Breaking news. Developing story. iPad thrown out window. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, I'm totally in favor of throwing the iPad out the window, and I am. I'm fully in favor. I think it's a good idea. It's littering. There's some littering going on. You got to make sure you do throw it. You don't want to hit another child in the head who's walking to school while you're throwing the iPad out. But fine. And I have no problem with briefly sharing an anecdote about parenting. I do that when we talk about parenting. In fact, if you listen to the show, you know that I have had shared a similar anecdote. But there are some differences here. First of all, I've briefly shared an anecdote about doing something similar. I haven't chronicled it with 10 TikTok videos and a media tour. I've just sort of mentioned it while illustrating a broader point. And in my case, the story was that, we allow our kids to use tablets without internet access only during very long car rides. Only. And they have to be very long. And long means 6, 7, 8, 15. We sometimes go 15-hour car rides. And so, yeah, we'll let them use the iPads, not the entire time, but for certain legs of the journey. And we got home after a long car ride, and one of my kids had a bit of a meltdown because he wanted to still play with the tablet. And so I calmly threw the tablet in the trash, and that was that. And, it sounds like that's kind of what happened here. I support the strategy. In fact, it reminds me of one of my favorite parenting moments that I've ever witnessed. And this is when I was a kid. 13 or 14, I think. This is back in the old days and kids these days don't know about this, but if you wanted to listen to a song or an album, you had to physically go to it. Can you believe that, kids? If there's a song you wanted to hear, you had to physically go to a place and buy the song on the album to listen to it. So, and that was one of our favorite things to do. So we would go to the music store, you go to Sam Goody or FYE. And so anyway, I got dropped off at the mall. And malls there's another thing that used to exist. With a friend of mine, we go to Sam Goody, we each buy a CD. I don't remember what the CD was, but my friend's dad picks us up, and on the way home, he says to my friend, his son, hey, let me see that CD you bought. And so he hands it over. His dad takes one look at it and just chucks it out the window. That's it. Of course, my friend freaks out and says, you're not listening to my house. This is garbage. What is this garbage? So I was just glad that it wasn't my dad who picked us up, because then I would have been the victim of that incident. So the point is, I believe in consequences for children. If the consequences involve chucking something out the window, fine. What I hate is how everything is a trend now, when it shouldn't be a trend. It should just be it should be a fundamental aspect of parenting, consequences. But most importantly, not to harp on Paige, the iPad mom here, but, when you offer up these kinds of stories about your personal life and about your parenting, then you go and you do media hits and stuff. Well, you're offering it up. And so now the rest of us are allowed to have an opinion about it. That's what happens when you make things public. So it must also be said that the whole incident is her fault. Why are you giving your child an iPad on the way to school? How long is the drive to school? Are you going to school in a different hemisphere? Is this a 20-hour trip to school? No, she says it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Why does she need an iPad for a 10-minute car ride? And starting the day right before school, this is why I actually feel sorry for, I give teachers a hard time. I give public school teachers a hard time because a lot of them are terrible, but not all of them. And I do have a lot of sympathy for them, actually. And this is it right here. What do you expect teachers to do? Okay, you're starting the day before school. It's like 7 a.m. And so you're to make sure that your child is overstimulated with an iPad. Just setting your kid up for failure and the teachers. So they're going to get overstimulated, play around with an iPad, and then you're just going to drop her off at school and expect her to sit at her desk, sit there still and quiet, listening to the teacher? So what happens here is that, you're being lazy as a parent. You give your child an iPad so you don't have to deal with them for 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes. And you're dropping them off at school. You won't even see them for 8 hours or whatever, 6 hours, whatever it is. Just talk to your kid for 10 minutes or don't. Just have them sit there. But you give your child an iPad for 10 minutes, it backfires, and then you get pissed and chuck it out the window. And then go retrieve it and give it back to them anyway. So it's not even really any consequence. The consequence, it's like performative. I mean, if you're going to go with the child, if you're like, okay, we're going to throw this thing out, then throw it out. Throw it out for real. Otherwise, it's not a consequence. So then what was the whole point? What was the point of it? It seems like the point was just for TikTok then. There's no actual consequence here. This all happened because of something you did. You screwed up. Giving your kid an iPad to play with for 10 minutes before school is crazy. There's no good reason to do it, period. Why not give them cookie? How about you give them cookies and cake too on the way to school? Sugar them up, cookies, cake, empty calories, iPad, video games, and then just send them to school. Not my problem. How about doing that? That's a great idea.